Knockout Legends in the building. Like, comment and subscribe. Now today I want to talk about Errol Spence and the Bud Crawford fight, but more in general just about Errol Spence. So in the lead up to the Errol Spence and Bud Crawford fight, we saw Errol Spence go around collecting all the belts like he was Thanos. And I think as he progressed in his career, he got more confident, because I recall Errol Spence used to be quiet, very respectful, wasn't loud. But I think as the money and the fame got to him, he become more outspoken and he become more popular. The fans liked him more. He just was kind of the guy of the division. And obviously Bud come through. Bud did all the stuff he did, went through his divisions, become undisputed in the other division before this, and won belts in the other division. And he just went about his business, hardworking, just dealt with opponents, dispatched him. And then the parallels kind of sort of came into play, where people started saying, well, Errol's better than him because he's more the natural welterweight. But I think what tended to happen is a lot of people hyped up Errol Spence too much, and a lot of things happened in the run-up to the fight. Obviously ego, bravado, people around you, popularity, and that added fuel to the fire. But it also in some respects made Errol Spence kind of look bad, because it took so long for the Bud Crawford fight to happen that when it finally happened, we were excited. But so much had happened to Errol already, and things that we didn't actually even know about, like all the numerous car crashes, and then obviously losing his teeth and the retina surgery. Now, none of these are excuses, because he beat credible opponents even when he had these injuries, and he beat Ugas. But when you look at the fight with Ugas, he did get taken to task in that fight, and there was little snidey tactics what he used, like with the mouthpiece, because I remember that coming up, like in I think one of the All Accesses, where he was getting his mouthpiece fitted and he said he didn't want it to fall out of his mouth. But it is an old pro trick to spit your mouthpiece out if you can, when you under pressure. But like in the Ugas fight, I think he was saying that he thought his teeth were knocked out and he wasn't aware. But you're in a boxing ring, right? So you should clench your teeth and keep your mouth closed until obviously you can let the referee know that you've lost your gum shield, and he stops the time, and then you can get your gum shield. You don't do that because you could have got knocked out. And in that sense, we can see there's a little bit of lack of focus and lack of concentration when in the ring, because what does the referee always say? Protect yourself at all time. And in that sense, he's lucky he didn't get knocked out, because look at the Floyd Mayweather fight with Ortiz, when Ortiz kept doing dirty stuff, and then he said sorry, and then he kept saying sorry again, and then Mayweather just knocked him out. And then Larry Merchant was having a go at him over what he did and said it was a bit dirty, a bit snide. Yeah, it may have been, but like any advantage in boxing, you take it, because that's what boxing's about. You have to make sure you protect yourself at all times, no matter what, and regardless of if you're saying sorry or not. Because I've seen fights where people have come out to touch gloves at the start of the round, and the other person hasn't touched gloves, and then just gone hell for leather to smash the other person in the face, and the other person's realised that, and then just put the guard up quickly before they took a full-on shot to the face, where the fight probably would have been over if he took it. Do you know what I mean? And then I've seen I think it's Josie Joe Walcott come out with his hands down, like at the start of a fight, where it's like he's not going to do anything, and then he just rushes over to the other person, and then just from nowhere starts throwing punches at him. And the other person didn't expect that, because of the way he come out languidly, like he was just going to take his time and jab and move. It was like a sort of relaxed feint, where he just comes out slowly, like he's walking blasé, and the other person kind of took his time, but then he just crows his ground and then just attacks him, and I think he actually knocks the other fighter down, because he's so off guard by the actual movement, he didn't expect it. So the point I'm trying to make is as well about in the ring, you should always protect yourself at all times. But with Errol Spence, I think what we saw is a combination of things: lack of concentration, wear and tear with fights, and the car crashes, and the retina surgery, and the teeth and the mouth surgery, and then layoffs as well. So all these things combined, maybe people, especially Errol Spence fans, will suggest that this is why Errol Spence wasn't at the best. I've heard Abel Sanchez said he looked weak. Obviously, he said he wants to fight Bud at 154. But me personally, my personal opinion, I think Errol Spence is a good fighter. But like I've been saying from a long time ago, if you watch any of my videos, Bud Crawford is a better fighter. He's got more tools in his arsenal, and he doesn't just fight one way. Errol fights one way, where he just holds the ring and pressures you and bullies you, and then he uses his superior size and then just goes to the body and then tires you out and grinds you down. Now that may work with most other fighters, but it didn't work with Bud, because Bud's natural at that weight, and now because he's knocked out so many people at that weight and he's established at that weight, it's nothing for him to just do what he's doing. So when people kept saying he's a smaller man, he's this, he's that, it was a load of tosh, because obviously he's established at that weight. I think I've seen an interview where Bomac said they effed up, they should never have let him get comfortable at the weight, and I kind of agree with that. They should have fought him sooner. But even if he wasn't still comfortable at that weight and they fought him sooner, especially the time where they pull up on each other and they had the words, I still think Crawford would beat him. He might have took a couple more shots and might have got, like, I don't know, rocked, or maybe ate a few shots, but I still think he'd beat him. He's just got more in his arsenal. I've seen it with Kell Brook, seen it with Sean Paul, I've seen it with other fighters he's fought. He's just that good. He's just naturally got that ability where I don't even think sometimes he even needs a game plan with certain fighters. If he watches you fight for at least 2 rounds and then he figures out your patterns, he'll just beat you. He'll know what to do to beat you. That's how good he is, so it's not a case of that Errol had any disadvantages or any weaknesses or anything. He just got beat by the better fighter. And I think a lot of it went to his head, where people were gassing him up and the fans were gassing him up. So you just have to give Bud Crawford his dues. He's just a superior fighter and a superior boxer completely in both aspects, in the bully aspect and in the fluidity and counter punching, and actually even just raw boxing. He can do it all, and I think that is the thing with Errol Spence and Derek James. They don't like giving credit where credit's due. But I think it's more of the fact that he got hyped, and then when he got hyped, he couldn't come back from the height what he put himself at and where people put him. So there is nowhere else to go. You can only, once you go up, you have to come down. So now we've seen him come down. So me personally, if he fights again, I think he should just probably fight Crawford, and if he loses, I think you should actually, with grace, retire. Not just because you haven't got a career, but because of so much talk and so much vitriol and back and forth and the fans hyping you up and this, that and the other. I think that humble pie, if you get beat again, humbly, you should retire, because it's kind of your own fault in a sense that you've let people hype you up to the point that now that you have to take the fight, even though you didn't really want to, now you have to take it. That a lot of your own words have come back to haunt you, because if you recall, he said he can take the easy route and get the belts off Sean Porter and I think Kell Brook as well. So he did that, and then he had to come back round. So maybe it's a case of karma coming back round based off what you said and other things that have happened, because obviously you don't live the life. You have to live the life like Hopkins, like Mayweather, and also like Crawford. If you want to become a legend, you have to be that thing that you want to be. So you have to actually walk it, talk it, speak it, breathe it and believe it, like Deontay Wilder says. So it actually comes into fruition, and then once it comes into fruition, you are that thing. So anyway, my thoughts on this is just nobody to blame but himself. Errol Spence got beat by the better man, and Bud Crawford is a true legend, a great role model, excellent fighter, excellent skill set, and I want to see more big fights with him. I want to see him fight Charlo, and I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Ennis. And if it is possible and he can go up to that, or there's a catchweight, I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Canelo, because that would actually be interesting, because Canelo struggles against people that can move. He struggled in the Amir Khan fight until he knocked out Khan, but Khan's chin's not the best. Obviously got beat by Beterbiev, who is a raw boxer and had the size, so obviously that comes into play. So if we could see a catchweight fight, that would be interesting. I'm not going to give my opinion on who I think would win, but I think it would be a competitive fight. Canelo sure has power, but would he be able to knock Crawford out? We'd have to see. I don't think he would, because Crawford's that fluid, and I think he's still got that little bit of freshness on his side and not had as many hard fights that he possibly could become victorious in this fight if he takes it. Anyway, so what are your comments on what I have talked about, and what do you think? Leave your comments in the comment section. Like, comment and subscribe, and that is another one from Knockout Legends. Peace.